Thank you very much. You're very kind. We're kind of hurrying here best we can because I didn't want to leave none requests out. They haven't told us how much time we got, so we'll go on with them. This is one that somebody here that's due up in Louisville. We were very honored to get to open the Louisville, or the Kentucky Center for Performing Arts there in 1982. And I couldn't figure out how we got that for a long time, but what had happened, as it turned out the history of it was that they had fought the war on poverty so long down here in Kentucky that some of the Kentuckians started to win. And they found out that rich people was supposed to be a lot more intellectual and artsy, craftsy and stuff, and so they built that big place down there in downtown Louisville. And for those of you who can remember, maybe it was around here, the grand opening, they invited in every famous Kentuckian they could think of, the New York City Ballet, and Charlton Heston, Lillian Gies, Diane Sawyer, Lily Tomlin, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and they got down to the bottom. They never had area of briar amongst them, and it turned out to be us. And we said, yeah, we'll come down there and be a token rednecks, let people make fun of us. And we went out and bought suits alike, took the name of our bowling team off the back and everything. And along about a month before this thing was to take place, they called up and said, could y'all come down for a dress rehearsal? And we said, yeah. I said, we'd like to see how you do that. We'd never had practice dressing in our county after puberty or something, you know. And they said, don't worry about everything. The guy that's on the board of directors is going to come up and get you in his private jet. You all be out there at the airport on Thursday at 4 o'clock. The airport in our county is open on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday till 3 o'clock. And I tried to explain this to them, but I think they was expecting an airport that had pavement on the runway, for instance. We was out there dutifully waiting. And these guys that fly these private jets, they sell testosterone to Mexican bulls in the off-season. I swear, they bring the plane in. And they got us, brought us back to Louisville, had us in the same dressing room with the New York City Ballet, which boys has a little bit different idea about what a dressing room's for than we had learned in our county. We secured a perimeter. And I wasn't as liberal back then as I am now. There were certain things I hadn't seen. That's the first place I ever seen, and don't nobody take offense to this, because God bless every kind. I believe there's room for them all. He didn't leave none out, but I gotta confess, that's the first time I ever seen a man wearing an earring. And I mean, if we ever had any extra earrings around the house, they usually went on Mommy. I'll try not to interrupt your concentration. What? Excuse me just a second. What?
That's 200 minutes.
I'm supposed to be in between that. Okay. Excuse me, I don't mean to exclude you. Well, I studied on this here ring a while. I wasn't going to finish that, but I'll tell you this. I looked at these guys, and I have figured this much out. You show me a man wearing an earring, I'll show you a man that's never stacked no cordwood. Only I was wrong. I freely admit I was wrong, because I'll tell you what I used to think. I used to think it was silly for these guys down in Nashville with $200 haircuts and bodies by Pillsbury that ain't never done a lick of work in their life to call themselves country singers, have a big expensive hat and everything. And I was wrong about that too. Because there ain't nothing wrong with a man having a good hat. But I was driving on the Pennsylvania Turnpike here a while back, and they got this thing now at the night called a McSnack. And it'll fire you up. You get a bag of popcorn and some chocolate chip cookies and a big Coke for $2, you know. And I was standing in the McSnack line right behind a guy that weighed 420 pounds. 400 pounds of muscle and 20 pounds of exaggeration. He had tattoos all over his body with the needles left in. Hair growing out of unspeakable parts. especially if you're in the McSnack line. And he had a little bitty earring up here. And Charlie grabs me by the arm and says, "Tell him your cordwood story." Anyways, we was up here at the Kentucky Center for Performing Arts, and the night of the performance, this is the God's truth. Charlton Heston was going to introduce us, and he'd come out just before it was time for us to play, and he said, "Just call me Chuck." And if you're a little redneck, you can't do it. Sticks in your throat. I'm glad to meet you there, Chuck. Now, we was supposed to sing one of them old shake note hymns from the Holiness Gospel. And you can't do it with Moses standing at the side of the stage, so we done this one instead. In the year 64, we were fighting a war for reasons we hardly knew. Many tears had been shed, many loved ones left dead in the fight between the gray and the blue. I recall that a lad to his mother and dad said goodbye at the old garden gate. And I hear his mother say, "Son, we'll watch and we'll pray, if it takes you forever, we'll wait. If they carry me back on that long southern track, I hope you will answer my plea. When they lower me down in that sweet Georgia ground, have someone play Dixie for me." Then a year slowly passed till a letter at last from his captain finally come forth. For the one that you yearn, he will never return. Lord, he's down in the camp with no. If they carry me back on that long southern track, I hope you will answer my plea. When they sweet Georgia ground, have someone play Dixie for me. With a rose on his chest, we fulfilled his last request. What God gave, now taken away. With his battles now won, Lord, his song, it was sung while the tune too sweet Dixie did play. If they carry me back on that long southern track, I hope you will answer my plea. When they lower me down in that sweet Georgia ground, have someone play Dixie for me. When they lower me down in that sweet Georgia ground, have someone play Dixie for me.